All right, we are recording and we're off and going. Okay. All right, everybody, welcome. This is lesson 2 of geography. So we just started the new block. Things have been good, and I do have an exit ticket at the end of this. It's kind of a new exit ticket, so stick around for the very end to get that. Okay, so what we're going to be going over today, let me get out my little pointer finger here. We're going to be locating our space, our place in space, okay? So where we're located, and then also physical attributes of the Earth's landscape are the 2 lessons that we're kind of going over. But before we do, couple things I do want to go over, okay? So I do have some expectations as we are going through here. And those that are hitting me up on private chat, I'll try to get to you as soon as I can. A couple things I want you to keep in mind as we're going through, okay? So why don't you use your pointers to follow along, make sure you're being actively engaged as we're going through here. We're only here for 25 minutes, so you guys can handle that. You know, you're in high school now, okay? If you have a question, you can raise your hand on the thing and go there. When I ask to respond, why don't you guys respond for the first time? That'd be fantastic. You know, try to get it there, not make me wait around and sit. Okay. Use the button when you're away from your computer. Okay. So I understand things come up. Things come up in my life too. I had screaming kids come in here at one time when my kids were around. So it's okay, but just put away, know that you're away, so I know that not to call on you or whatever. Okay, and then also use the Blackboard chat tool appropriately. Let's try to stay on conversation there, and I'll give you some time to after class where you guys can chat with your classmates and everything, okay? All right, okay, so let's get going here. Before I go into what I want you to learn today, there's a couple things. So somebody said, do you call on people or ask for volunteers? Usually I just ask for volunteers, but if I notice you're not doing anything, I may call you, hey, what's going on? Okay, so just make sure you're kind of there. Perfect. Glad you made it here. So just real quick, so today, what we went over on Wednesday of last week is going to be due in a quiz. Okay, so make sure you log on to the OLS, do that. What we're going over today is going to be due Wednesday, and we have a recorded class Wednesday you'll need to watch that will be posted to the announcement page of the OLS. Okay, just so you kind of know what needs to be done, and then I'll have an exit ticket for you at the end of today. Okay, couple things we need to do. One, be able to identify correct cardinal directions. We'll be talking about that. So this is stuff I want you to show me you can do in your exit ticket. Okay. All right. And the next one is what affects climate and long-term weather patterns of a region. Okay. So we're going to go over that too. So why is Utah like it is weather-wise? We're going to be going over there. I haven't given out the exit ticket actually, so you just need to stay around for the very end. Yeah, so cardinal directions. Cardinal directions, we'll be going over those. They're like north, south, east, or west, but there's differences to them too, right? So southeast, northwest, okay, those kind of things, okay? So I want you to be able to determine those as we go through this. All right, so let's talk about this real quick. Where are we? Okay, that's kind of a big question, right? I'm just talking about where are we in the universe? Okay, you want to throw that out on the chat real quick? Where are we in the universe? Okay, so we're on Earth. Okay, we're by the sun like that. The Milky Way. Okay, the third planet from the sun. Right? There used to be a television show called Third Rock from the Sun. Right? The Milky Way, Earth. Okay. Very good. All really good. Somebody says they're from Neptune. Who knows, right? But at least we kind of know where we are geographically, okay? And as we're on here and as we're learning about Earth, right? Geography is the study of the Earth and everything in it. We will be kind of looking at some things. So what we've done is humans, right? We have split the Earth up into different areas so we can more visually look at different regions and go there. Okay, so we have something called the Western Hemisphere. Okay, so you have two lines, and we'll be going over these lines. You have one that runs vertically up and down. Does anybody know what that's called? The one that, this is kind of the harder one that's not always sitting there. They're not equal distance. Yeah. Okay. The one that runs. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, the equator is the one that runs horizontally across there, so very good. And the prime meridian is the one that runs vertically. Yep. Very good. And then you also have the poles, right? The poles, what we call the North Pole and the South Pole. They're not real poles. They're just imaginary poles that we use to be able to measure the Earth and find location on there. As we're doing this, we also need to know this wonderful compass right here, right? So the compass, right, if you're looking up, kind of over here, that would be our north, okay? So towards the North Pole. We also have south, which would be the South Pole, west, east, and then you also have your other directions here, northeast, and they always go, the north or south always go first when you're doing that, okay? So that's going to lead me to a question that I want you to answer real quick. So let me go to your pool tools real quick. A, B, C, or D, okay? And I want you to answer which direction is incorrect. Would it be northwest, east-north, C, southeast, or D, southwest, okay? So why don't you, I'll give you guys a second to answer those. Very good. It just sounds funny when I say it, right? So, okay, I'm going to look at your chat. They should be pools in to market. Yeah, we don't have a direct location, but it'd be kind of cool if they have, like, you know, pools that they put in. Then they put a giant force field around it. All right. And I will ask the assignments today. Okay, very good. You guys are awesome here. The correct answer, man, I have 40 responses I'm showing right now. It is east-north, okay? So remember that. That's how cardinal directions, right? That's one of the things we want to learn today, those cardinal directions. So make sure you are aware of that. Okay. So somebody drew them in Zombieland. Yeah, I heard there's a movie that came out. It's like called Zombieland. I think it's the second one. I've never seen it before though. But all right. So as we're talking about these lines, we already talked about the equator, right? So the equator goes and splits it in half, right? Horizontally, and then vertically, the prime meridian splits it that way. And then we have lines that go up from the equator, okay? These are what we call lines of latitude. Now the way I want you to think of this, right, is if you go from the equator, okay, and you're trying to count up, you always count up your latitudes first. So it's like a ladder, like you're climbing a ladder, okay? And the higher you go up, right, the farther you're going to get close to the North Pole. So is it going to be cold or hot when you get near to the North Pole? Cold or hot? What are your thoughts? Put that in the chat real quick. Okay, cold. Good. Yep, burr. I like it. Yeah, so the higher you go in latitude, the colder it's going to be, okay? The lower you go in latitude, okay, so if you go towards the South Pole, I'm sorry, is it going to be cold or hot by the South Pole? Okay, hotter at the South Pole? What are your guys' thoughts? So some people are saying hot. Okay, cold. Okay, no, colder, right? So the two poles, right, North and South Pole, they're super cold, right? But near the equator, that's where the sun hits the most. Okay, and the sun rotates from the meridians back and forth, and so that area is nice and warm. That's why you can go to like these wonderful places in South America, maybe Cuba or Jamaica or Hawaii. All those places are in those meridians that makes it nice and warm, and so that's why we can go there. Yep. That's why Hawaii, it never snows in Hawaii. Perfect, yep. And that's what I want you to get real quick is why there's certain areas, right, that are warmer because of the way they're positioned. Okay, so from the prime meridian, you go east and west, and these lines are called lines of longitude. So they're like longer, so they kind of go down that way. So now we know our different lines. Okay, now there's different ways of why we have the seasons we do, right? We have different seasons and we have different times of the day. And the way this works is first, there's a rotation. So you basically have those poles that are on top, but they're not straight up and down. The Earth is tilted a little bit to 23.5 degrees, okay? And so then that goes and it spins around. And as it's spinning around, the Earth's spinning around, what does that make for us? If the Earth's spinning around, what does it make on its so-called axis? Okay, that's a good thing. You're thinking about seasons, okay? The seasons, it's not quite. The Earth spins around every 24 hours, right? And what? Day and night, perfect. Because you have the sun in one location, you have the Earth in another, and it spins around, and you get that. The Earth must get dizzy. I agree. I would never want to be, the one thing I'd never want to be is, what are they called? The ice skaters that spin around in circles. Ooh, that would make me not feel very good. I get dizzy on roller coasters. But as it goes around 24 hours, right, it makes day and night because the sun's in one direction and we're spinning around the sun, and it makes day and night. Now the season, or not the seasons, but the, somebody put it up there. Where was it? I'm not finding it on the chat now. As it's rotating around the sun, right, that's what's going to make the seasons, right? So it's spinning and it's rotating around the sun. So as you can see over here, if you look at my little pointer, well, let's see here. So let's try to find Utah or the United States. The Utah or the United States would be right here. Okay. If the sun's coming right here, what season would this be? In this thing right there where my finger's pointing. What season would that be? Looking at that. Summer. All right, good. I think keeps putting that. Okay. Good question. You guys are out there. Does the Earth rotate clockwise or counterclockwise? Okay, I'm trying to think here. It rotates like, I've never thought of that before. That's a really good question. It actually is going clockwise, I believe. Let's see here, because it starts, if you think it this way, in that our time moves around like that. Yeah, so clockwise. You Googled it? Yeah, so somebody's Googling it out there. So somebody said it might be counterclockwise. All I know is it starts at Greenwich, England, the prime meridian, and then it starts going towards the Atlantic to the United States and then around that way. Okay. Oh, you meant around the axis. So it's clockwise. Yeah, it rotates clockwise. Okay, somebody Google it. We gotta love Google there. Very good questions though. Okay. So one thing on here, a revolution lasts 365 1/4 day. Okay. So the 1/4, right? Every 4 years you have what? Does anybody know why a fourth day? What we have to do to make up on our calendar? Google it, Bing it, pop it, twist it, like it. Leap year, very good. I'm glad somebody got that. So every 4 years we have to have an extra day, which is kind of extra day. If you had your birthday on leap year, you'd only have it once every 4 years. But yeah, leap year always comes around that time. Very good. You guys are awesome. Okay, so one thing that we want to talk about too is a little place that we like to call Pangaea or Pangaea. It's been said both ways. So can anybody tell me, oh, I guess this is kind of cool. Like, this is where North America used to be, okay? Before the continents started to shift and change and turn where they are. And they're still turning. We're going to talk about it. When did Pangaea form? So they said at the very beginning of the Earth, right? Which was so many, like billions of years ago. It was all one landform, and then they started changing and turning and that kind of stuff. Okay. Okay, that's cool. So can you elaborate from what, Ashton? So a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I like your Star Wars reference. It didn't form, it broke apart. Yep, okay. Very good. Yeah, see, I know the basis of it. If you want your Earth science teacher, they're going to be the ones that will tell you a lot of it. Yeah, it's the original supercontinent. I like it. And wow, you're going all the way back to Alfred Wagner, who did the theory of continental shift. These guys are smart, man. Okay, well, I think you guys are going to ace the exit ticket and everything on here. Plate tectonics. Yep, very good. All right. Okay, so this is what we'll be kind of going over in the next little section here. All right, let's talk about this question real quick. So I already think I have this up. This is kind of interesting, okay, because we already talked about lines of latitude, longitude, and then I'm going to add in elevation and currents, okay? So this question says, which of the following is not responsible for determining the climate or long-term weather conditions of a region, okay? So this is like, why is Utah like it is, or why is like Seattle or the UK or, you know, places in the tropics like it is. Elevation, is it how high above they are above sea level? Okay, lines of latitude, right, the ones you climb, so you're climbing higher up to the North Pole, higher to or lower to the lower pole, okay? Lines of longitude or currents, okay? I'm talking about ocean currents as they come through, okay? All right, so let's talk that. I'll catch up on the chat while you guys are answering this question. This one's kind of a tricky one, so go here. Okay, the original supercontinent. Yay, we learned about this, I think, last month. Okay, probably in Earth science. Very good. The supercontinent split into multiple siblings. Of course, North South came out of. I like it. You guys, it looks like you've done quite a bit of research on this already. That's fantastic. Do we have this in our course? Yeah, it should be in your course as you're going through lesson 2. It'll be in your modules. This one will. Yep, this one is a little tricky, okay? This one is a little tricky, but we're going to talk about it in just a second. Okay, let me give you 5 more seconds. Just hurry and guess if you don't know it. 5 more seconds. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, the correct answer is lines of longitude do not affect climate, okay? So I know it's kind of hard here, right? But remember, longitude are the ones that go east and west, okay? We're not really looking at where they are. It doesn't kind of matter where they are, okay? But let's talk about the other ones real quick. So let me just go back real quick so you can really get this. So elevation, okay? The higher you are, if you're higher in the mountains, is it going to be colder or is it going to be warmer? Okay, if you're down by the ocean, is it going to be warm? Yeah, it's going to be warmer. Okay, if you're up in the mountains, it's going to be colder. Okay, so elevation has a lot to do with temperature and climate. Okay, lines of latitude, if you're higher, if you're closer to the North Pole or the South Pole or the wonderful equator where it's always warm, which I love to be by the equator, especially right now it's getting cold here, it's going to be warmer. Okay, lines of longitude, okay, that's the one that's the correct answer. Okay, they're the ones that go from the North Pole to the South Pole. They don't really, it doesn't really matter where they are. You can't determine what the climate's going to be. The last one is ocean currents. Okay, so you think about all of the places on the coastline. So if you look at like Seattle, if you go over and move over, it's like right by like Montana. Montana's super cold and it snows all the time, but does it ever snow in Seattle? No, I know it rains a lot, right? It usually doesn't snow because you have the ocean coming in and bringing in warmer water, okay? And that's something you got to think about, okay? So I want you to remember that, and that's going to kind of be on your exit ticket there. So remember to put there. It did when you lived in Seattle, but not very much, right? It's not as cold as like Montana, right? Or North Dakota. Okay. All right, we're running out of time, so I got to hurry and fly through these couple ones real quick. Okay, we'll be talking a little bit about, in your modules, you'll talk about the Earth's core, the mantle, the crust, also the different kind of spheres that are in the Earth, okay? The solid sphere, the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, which talks about all about water, the biosphere, which is all about plants, and then the atmosphere, which is all about, you know, the gases that are in there, okay? Yeah, Cali doesn't usually snow. Very good. Okay, sorry to rush through this, but we only got a little bit of time left, and I'll kind of give the exit ticket to you. If you guys want to stay around to chat or talk about that, we can more than happy to do that. Okay, we talked about the tectonic plates, okay? And so we have these. You have the different plates. The ones that move the most are actually the Pacific plate, and we'll be talking about the Ring of Fire as we go through there. I'm not talking about the song. The song's so old you probably don't know it anyways, but you may. Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire. You can Google that one. But that's where most of the earthquakes and volcanic activity happen, is in that area. Talking about the rain cycle, that kind of stuff. And sorry to go there. I'm going to skip this question real quick. We already talked about the latitudes, the tropics, where it's nice and warm and dry. The latitudes are where you have your 4 seasons. That's where Utah is. And then you have your Arctic, where it's either summer or it's winter, right? And both are fairly cold as we're going there. Okay, that leads us to the exit ticket, okay, which I'm going to put in the chat here just really quickly. Oops. And I'll let you guys get going there, okay? All right. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yep, the slides I will open up right now for you. I will be sticking around for the next 5 to 10 minutes to answer any questions that you may have. And then we'll kind of go from there, okay? And you guys can chat a little bit if you'd like to. Okay, I'll stop the recording.
Recording stop.